Hello, everybody in the world. Hello. My name is Lee Bamber. I am the CEO of the Game Creators. This is 2021, and more accurately, this is the GameGuru MAX live broadcast revealing all of the development up to date. For 2021, right now, we've basically been in it 6 days, so there's not really a huge amount of progress to show since the last broadcast. Now, largely, there are weeks and weeks between broadcasts, of course, but with Christmas in the way, very little progress, as you might imagine. So, welcome one and all. I think 2021 is going to be a very exciting year, and I'm looking forward to revealing many things in the weeks and months to come. Now, I want to keep these broadcasts to 15 minutes. In 2020, I failed miserably at that. I don't think a single broadcast since we started was within the 15-minute mark, largely on account of me answering lots and lots of questions at the end. So we will have some kind of strict cut-off, or at least we'll attempt to do so, where no matter what question it is, halfway through an answer at 15 minutes, I say my goodbyes and leave. So that's basically the idea. Now, the first broadcast, as I said, because there's a huge amount of progress to show you, and demonstrations and art, etc., we're going to leave extra time for questions, if you have any questions, that is. Now, I'm just looking at the live chat, because that's how you're going to ask those questions, and I'll be able to answer those questions at the end, after I've told you a few little things that we are going to do in the first few weeks of 2021. Now, I'm just going to check to see if we have sound. Thanks, Synchro. Thanks, Martin Oliver. Audio is fine. Everyone can hear me. That is great. So I can charge straight on to the little bits and pieces I want to talk about. I've made a little list, so I'm looking at it now. There's 5 things that I want to quickly tell you, and then we're going to go straight into any questions that you have. So if you've got any questions, ask them now, because this list won't take me very long to get through. Towards the end of 2020, we created a plan. You may already know that around December, in fact all of December and probably a little bit of November, we focused hugely and heavily on a complete UI redesign, changing pretty much every part of it, almost some of its DNA, to make sure that the game maker is the game maker we always wanted. The game maker had all the things that just wasn't in there in Game Guru Classic, such as, you know, the ability to customize your game screens, your in-game screens, your executable icon, for crying out loud. You know, those basic things that were just missing. Well, in going through the UI, allowed us to address every little detail, and that process continues. We've certainly gone through, say, our first big draft of every section of the software, and we're quite happy with the designs that we've come up with. But what it's lacking is iterations on that design and those decisions, and then the details that you would need in order to create a dev plan. So that's going to happen in January, and we've scheduled a lot of calls for the internal management and development team to go through that work, to make sure that we all have that on paper before we commit heavily to doing lots of code and lots of art. There's no point doing the code and art if then you change your mind 3 months later and you have to throw it all away. So that's what we're doing first. And these reviews, which we're calling them internally, will continue all the time. We're doing them twice a week, every week, all the way through to the release of the product. So it's pretty much an intense oversight on every part of the project to make sure no corner is skipped, and as importantly, make sure we're not working on things that we don't need to be working on, just so we can focus on the most important aspects of this project. I have been lucky enough to recruit what I'm calling my inner circle of testers. These are people who have volunteered to subject themselves to most of the bugs that I might produce over the months to come. And they will be our great filter, by which I mean, once that process is complete, when you get it, when it becomes a public build, there should be a lot fewer bugs. I'll talk about bugs in a little bit. As I've already hinted at, we're going to continue to do live broadcasts every Wednesday at 4 p.m. GMT, and obviously BST and British Summertime times. But please do let me know if there's a different time that you've increasingly been aware is probably suitable for your purposes. No one's really complained about 4 p.m. It works for me. It's towards the end of the day, but I'm still relatively fresh. You don't really want me live broadcasting at 9 p.m. at night because it'll sound very drowsy. And also, this is new for 2021. We are going to commit ourselves to doing builds every Friday. Now, it'll take a couple of weeks to get this started because we've got to go through a number of steps first, like making sure that we've got one section that's complete and tested and debugged and further tested. And once it's rock solid, then I can introduce it in a broadcast, and then 2 days later, boom, you get it as a build. Some of you might have seen the tiny installer that we've developed, which would allow these builds, these Friday builds, to just appear on your computer as if by magic. The software will know that there's a new version available. It will let you know when you first run the software, and you click a button, and then you go to the auto updater, and it grabs the files that you need, and then you'll be on the very latest version. That's simple. No more messing about with 2 GB plus installers every time we make a code change. So that's the ritual that you're going to get into the throes of with GameGuru MAX development. It will be broadcasts on Wednesday talking about something that on the Friday you get to play with, which is perfectly timed for a nice relaxing weekend creating games and cool stuff. And finally, this is something that came in relatively recently, but the more I thought about it and the more it was discussed, the more it seemed like, oh my god, this should have been in years ago and right at the beginning, which is a bug tracking and basically bug tracking system. But it does more than that. It basically allows you to submit a bug with the information like screenshots and system specs and stuff like that. There's an API running in the background which then connects to a server, and that server will then allow you to see all the bugs that have been reported. But here's the best bit. It links. Now this hasn't been done yet. This is just an idea. Wouldn't it be great if? But there will be some kind of bug system in place which allows us to track bugs as they happen and get them fixed before they actually reach you. It will be our inner circle who gets inflicted with all the bugs. But any bugs that do escape the net, then you will be able to find them, demonstrate them, and submit them to us in the minimum of time and hassle. We want to make it easier for you to report these things because it's all very well saying, oh, there's a bug, there's another bug, I'm sick of these bugs, I'm going. But if you can just click a few buttons and just send us those bugs, we'll know about them right away, and we go straight to work to make those a priority. Gone are the days of having a bug sheet with 200 issues on it. The idea is a bug is taken very seriously when it comes in, and we even curtail development in order to make sure those bugs are fixed before we move on at great pace. So that was the philosophy behind it, and we are looking at a couple of APIs that, as I said, not only track the bugs, which allow you to report them, but they associate them with your user account. So when those bugs are fixed, you get notified that the bugs are ready for testing. And then you can confirm that the bug you originally reported has been fixed. You press another button and it gets resolved. Now currently we kind of do that through the GitHub issues board, which is successful. It's pretty good. Millions of coders use it. But wouldn't it be great if it was integrated into the software? So it's a personal thing. You don't see everyone's bugs. You just see your bugs, the bugs that you're interested in. So that's the idea. So we're going to be looking at that. We could write it all ourselves. We have done it before. We've probably written everything before in-house. But we're going to play a bit smarter this time. Much like we're looking at Sketchfab for great 3D assets and potentially shockwave sound for audio. We want to look at some third-party solutions. What else is out there? So, someone who's already done something that, oh my god, that's really good. That's everything we want. And they include an API. And they let us set up our own servers. Well, let's just use that then. So that's the basic thinking behind it. So look forward to that. I would like to have this bug system in place really early, even if that means delaying the first update for 2021. But if that first one comes out with some rudimentary systems which allows you to report a bug when you find it, I think would be super useful. Start as you mean to go on. That's my philosophy. So those are the 5 things I wanted to talk about and ramble on about. As I said, there's no wonderful art to show you, no lovely logic and software and things like that. That is something you can look forward to in the weeks and months ahead. So that's that. Now I'm going to give you your extended questions and answers. I've just looked at the clock. Not so much an extended question and answers because there's only 4 minutes. So, as I said, I'm going to answer as many as I can do in 4 minutes, and then the rest I will answer in the forums. And also, feedback if you want me to just go through every question, and maybe there's a cut-off time, and I'll answer every question up to that time, and I just stay on the broadcast. So let me know if that's something you would like, as an alternative to me then copying all the questions and then typing out all the answers and putting it on the GameGuru forum thread. If no one is reading those answers that I carefully answer, let me know, because then I can just do it vocally, and it'll save me a little bit of time. That time I will then refocus and spend on more coding. So here are some questions. Just rotate my monitor. The monitor moved since Christmas. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. Some questions. Looking for a question mark. This is from Nomad Soul. What is your favourite feature in Max? My favourite feature in Max hasn't been coded yet. And it's secret. And it's really cool. But it begins with P. That's all I'm going to say. And anyone who's really savvy might be able to figure it out. But I'm just going to leave it with that. Because it's not even been designed yet. We need to design it and then figure out technically how it's going to work, and then how long it will take, and who's going to do it, and all that kind of stuff. My favourite feature in future Max begins with P. Here's a question. Here's from Zorgo33. Will hand icon return for simple pickup script? Oh yeah, the little the 2D icon that floats up. Sure. There might even be an option in the dynamic lure system which would allow you to choose that icon image as well. I think that would make a lot of sense. No promises, just it makes a lot of sense to do that. Martinola, do you have an asset theme for Max? Yeah, kind of 3. We are focusing on the shooter, the puzzle, and the RPG game types. And so there will be those 3 genres faithfully presented. So there'll be something that's very shootery, and we already have made a start on that with the cellar demo and the zombies walking around and with your limited ammo supply. For puzzle, we've started talking about puzzles with huge community luminary, which should be more sci-fi and glass and metal and weird wonderful gadgets. RPG, probably set in the medieval time. Most RPGs end up in the Middle Ages, and we're no different. So look forward to those, but more details and visuals in the broadcast to come. Is a request from Lustanian Mapping. Hi, please add a way to import height maps. Watch this space. We are playing around with that first step of generating terrain. And bringing in a height map might be a way to solve a lot of problems, even if they just import the height maps as a stamp. And so you can sort of stamp your height map around just like a complicated brush. So, as I say, watch this space. Here's a question from Fearless Wee. Okay. Question. Since GG Max supports the particles made by AGK Studio, well, particle editor, will it get re-released as a GameGuru MAX DLC so we get it on Steam without owning Studio? Yes. That was always the plan. And we'd even slightly rebrand it if the author's okay with that. Where you buy it as a GameGuru MAX DLC, you download it, and GameGuru MAX can find it, and you'll see the link in the menu, and you can go and launch it immediately. We might even add that to the app Game Kit one as well, just for convenience for the people who already have the particle editor. Here's a question. Can I make a survival game with Max? Yep, anything that's shooter survival, or puzzle survival, or role-playing game survival, no problem. Here's a question from Super Confident Man. Will there be allied characters? Yes, absolutely. It will be some of the logic out of the shooter genre, and for story conversation side of allies from the RPG side. So absolutely yes, you are going to have allies in GameGuru MAX. Question, Happy New Year, question mark. Hope you are well, exclamation mark. Well, thank you very much, Freecon. I am very well. I am fully recharged. Here's a question. How much bigger will classic map be? Much bigger than... Max terrain size will be much bigger than classic terrain size. And the terrain size will be expandable in GameGuru MAX as well. Here's a question. No, it isn't. That's just the same question. Let's find someone who hasn't asked a question yet. Anyone down here? When will the next beta be available? No date planned yet. We're going to get all our ducks in a row. So that is fully tested the Tiny installer, tested the auto updater, make sure it detects new versions. Hopefully get all the bug reporting system in. Fix all the bugs we've found and the community have found up to date. When we get into that general ballpark, expect a build. And I think the build will be really cool. And every update after that will be super easy. Do we have any more questions from new people? Here's one from Bounciest Sky 152. Will it be easier to make a custom GUI UI for games? Super easy. As simple as drag and drop. You drag, you just drop something in, you say what it is and what it does, and that's it. And you can do that with all your screens, your title screens, your loading screens, your in-game screens. You can have many in-game screens. Full customizability, what you've been wanting for years. Just looking at the clock, and I have broken through the tape line again. We are now 17 minutes into the hour, and we haven't succeeded. We've all failed to get to the 15-minute mark. But I'm going to try and get as close to the 15-minute mark with each of these broadcasts. And so, as I promised, thanks very much for your attention. I hope you're okay with 15 minutes. I'm pretty sure you don't want it for any longer because it just means listening to me witter on, filling in sentences with lots of words, as I've just demonstrated. So, until next Wednesday, 4 p.m. GMT, might have something to show you, might not. But if you like, certainly join in, and I hope you enjoyed this first live broadcast of 2021. So until next week, I'll say goodbye, and as I said, welcome to 2021. Awesome times. Goodbye.